Hello everyone, hope you're doing well. Today is the start of War Thunder's 7th anniversary celebrations, and we have discounts, we have some vehicles on offer, and all of these wonderful things. But before we get into that, there is something to say. So the battle rating changes went into the game yesterday. They actually got into it, and some were changed just before all of the battle ratings were implemented. So I've got a little list here of just things that were changed, just to make sure that you keep on top of things. So the B-17E, the Japanese version, was also changed alongside its brother in the American tree. The M48 though, which right here, as you can see, the M48A1 was moved down to 7.3 in the American tech tree, which is right here. You can see it's down to 7.3, but its brother, the exact same vehicle for the Chinese, has not been moved down. For some reason, the Chinese M48A1 is still at 7.7. It is the exact same vehicle as the American one, but it's at a higher BR. No idea why this is, but it is a fact. The next one to have a look at is the AH-1G. So they got rid of the AH-1G change, the helicopter. It's staying at 8.0. It's no longer going down to 7.7. The next one after that is the J6A. That's been added to the 10.3 list. So that is, of course, the Chinese aviation when it comes to the MiG-21. This machine right here, and the MiG-19, I should say, sorry, for the J6A. So that's also gone up to 10.3. And the Eurocopter Tigers, the HAD and the UHT, have also gone up to 10.3. So we don't just have supersonic 10.3s, we also have helicopter 10.3s now in the form of the HAD for the French, and then for the Germans, of course, the UHT. And we have 10.3s in the form of ground as well, so everybody is happy with their BR increases. So those were the changes that were off. Now let's get into the main meat and veg of the video. Obviously, War Thunder has been around for an incredibly long time. Its 7th year anniversary is coming up on the 1st of November. That was when the game was technically out, 7 years ago. And with that said, every year in War Thunder's history, on the 1st of November, there are a bunch of things that happen. Now, the festivities are actually starting in War Thunder on the 23rd, so today to the 29th of October, where 3 things are happening. So the first thing is that you can get 50% discounts in the Gadget store for vehicle packs. Now, when I've actually checked the store right now, I don't seem to see any of these 50% offs, even if we go to special offers or just go to, the vehicles area. So I'm guessing they'll be coming, they're just not here right now. And then on top of this as well, you've got 50% discount for premium account of 90 and 365 days. If you want to see where this is, you just go here at the top, premium account right here, 50% off for 90 and 365. This right here is the best thing that you can buy in this sale. Buying a year of premium, so it comes back, you basically, the idea is if you buy a year of 50% off premium, so 7,450 GE, this generally works out to 30 to 35 USD, which is incredibly cheap to support this game, over a year. If you don't make any other purchases in War Thunder, this is the one to make, because you can see what it gives you. Plus 100% research on all game modes, and a bunch of Silver Lions ideas, and some really nice things that not many people use, right? So creation of squads consisting of more than 2 players, obviously very handy. Then allowed to ban some maps and random maps, so the map precision thing, 4 decal slots, and of course the dynamic campaign missions, which are, really fun to play, even though criminally underused. But for $30 to $35, you can get yourself a premium account for a year. It just makes everything a lot easier in the game, and on top of it as well, since it is only $30 to $35, if you work that out, do 30 divided by 12, you're looking at what? It's less than $3 a month for a whole year. let's say $2.50, I'd say that's definitely worth it for what you get out of it if you are a person who is looking to play War Thunder for the long term. What I do is I just buy it every year, so I just have a revolving premium door, and it costs me half price every time because of it. So if you aren't looking to really purchase anything in this sale, you're not really interested in the vehicles, or you're interested in the vehicles but not other things, please give this a look, because this is easily the best deal that you will get as long as you play the game, a decent amount. Also, 90 days is also very good as well, and sometimes they do 180 days on their store, but right now that doesn't seem to be there. So yeah, if you don't want anything else out of this sale, check that out, because that will serve you much better than any premium vehicle. Remember, a premium account affects every match. It affects every action you do in the game, whereas if you buy, let's say, a premium vehicle like the T-34747, that only affects the German tech tree, and it only affects the ground tech tree. If you get a premium account, it affects everything you do. So it's just easily the best thing to focus on. The next one is 50% discount for all in-game vehicles for SL and GE for all nations. Now this is for everything, as you can see, from update 1.91, night vision of vehicles obtainable via in-game activity and squadrons are not included. So basically the last update and also the squadron vehicles. That includes, China I don't think is going to actually get its day off, as you can see here, since it was added in update 1.91, but you can see from the 23rd of October to the 25th of October, it's going to be 50% off SL and GE for Japan, France, and Italy. So that means if you want to buy, let's say, a Japanese premium, such as the Type 75 MLRS, or if you want to buy, let's say, the F4U1A, this is the perfect time to do it, because everything is 50% off for this specific period of time. Now, unfortunately, you only have 2 days to make a decision for them, and then it rolls over from the 25th to the 27th for US and the Soviets, then the 27th of October till the 29th, it rolls over to the Germans and the British. So this means that when it comes to SL costs, the cost to buy these vehicles is down by 50%. The cost to buy premiums is down by 50%. This is the perfect time to pick up a vehicle that maybe you were waiting on to buy, such as for me, the Yak 3 would be a great purchase if I didn't have the Yak 9T. And then on top of this as well, stuff like the Army stuff, I don't think you'll have the Dauphine, because that hasn't been out long enough. But other stuff is, available around the place, including helicopters, since these guys came out, these things came out before update 1.91. So make sure to take advantage of that. If you have any vehicles that you haven't bought, or if you're close to researching, you can get them researched now and pay half the price of the SL cost for them, and also all of the GE premiums 50% off. Really good deal. Not as good in my opinion as the premium account deal, but still incredibly good. Now we're on to the gifts. Now, everything under this area here, so under the in-game discounts, starts on the 1st of November. So you have a little bit of time before any of this other stuff kicks in, but it is nice to have a primer, really. So we're about 7 days before a lot of this stuff is going to happen. So if you log in and you don't see, you win 5 games and you don't get anything, then don't be worried. It's just one of those things that's going to happen in the future. So from the 1st of November to the 5th of November, you have the chance to be able to pick one of these vehicles and get it as a gift. So you can only pick one of these, or you can only choose one of these out of the 3 gift vehicles, and each one of them you have to grind in a different way. So your 3 options to get, they're all premium, by the way, so you get nice premium bonuses. They're all rank 1 as well. The ground vehicle you can get is the A13 Mark II 1939. The French plane that is on offer is the D371 HS9, which is the high wing monoplane, which has access to 220mm, and then the R5M as well, which was an event vehicle before. And to get these, it's pretty simple. Now, before you go into the game as well, make sure that you pick which one of these you want, because it's kind of easy to get these. And remember, you can only get one of them. So once you've completed one of the activities or one of the events, you will not be able to complete the other one. So whatever comes first, you will get. So let's say you want the D371, but you decided to play ground forces on the 1st of November for a bit, you might get the A13 by mistake and not get the D371. So just be a little bit clued in when it's the 1st of November so you don't make that mistake. The other thing as well is all of these vehicles have been available before, so I've actually been able to get them. The A13 Mark II 1939 was available in a box when it came to the Warbond shop. I also think it was available as some form of pre-order bonus or maybe a very early on GE purchase for the British tech tree. The D371 was a pre-order plane for the French. You bought it to get access to the aviation side of the trees, and also the R5M is was a gift vehicle from last year to try and celebrate, boats actually coming out. So if you want my opinion on these three vehicles, the first one being the French D371 HS9. I actually bought this to get access to the French aviation tree back in the day. It's a pretty fun little plane. It doesn't have a ton of ammo. 220mm Hispanos. They are HS9s, so they're not like the other Hispanos that you may have used before. Quite a low fire rate, but they do have some decent belts behind them. If you can, use stealth because it has heavy SAPI, and that annihilates biplanes. But you only get 60 rounds, so 30 rounds per gun, which really isn't a lot to write home about. Because it's a high-wing monoplane, it handles really nicely. It's got a lot of speed behind it, but you will get outturned by biplanes, so you do have to watch out for that. So you have to play it much more as a multi-role aircraft, so you have to use its speed to get into better positions, and then try and turn onto the enemy instead of trying to turn with the enemy, because the enemy will be able to turn better than you. So that's a bit of a problem. Overall, it's a fun plane, but very limited on its ammunition. The next one, being the A13, is interesting because it's got two names. So A13 Mark II 1939, that you can see here, and it's also called the Mark IV A13 Mark II. This is actually available on the marketplace, weirdly enough, and it's a chunky boy. And the reason why it's available on the marketplace is because you could get it in a Warbond crate a little bit of a while back. It's got access to the 2-pounder, it's got absolutely no armor on it, it gets shredded by autocannons, but if you're able to get the first shot off, its little pea shooter with a really good reload on it can do a lot of work. It's also got a decent amount of speed behind it. Definitely not a meta vehicle at lower ranks because it doesn't have an autocannon, but it's still a little bit of fun if you want to run it, with some of your British lineup. And if you want to see the price of it on the Gaijin market right now, it is sitting at $4.78 or 4.78 Gaijin coin. So you can pick it up there if you don't want to, grind it here. So that's something to look at. It's still incredibly cheap for what it is, especially since it is technically a rare vehicle. And then you got the R5M. So the R5M is a fun little vehicle as well. It's a It's a 1.3 in tank realistic. It's not the fastest machine in the world. It's not the most armored machine in the world. It has 15mm of armor in the form of wood. It does have two Dishkas on it though, and the Dishkas can do a lot of damage. And it also has access to this set of rockets at the front. A set of 72 82mm M8 rockets. They fly incredibly straight. They are incredibly accurate. And as long as you're at a decent range, you can do good damage with them. It's just one of those weird and wonky gift vehicles that was given out that a lot of people didn't really pay much attention to, but after they fixed the bugs which were on it, such as where the rockets actually fired when they fired, it's pretty much, it actually found its place in the game as just a little bit of fun, which is what this event should be about. It should be about, a little bit of fun. So out of these three vehicles, if I was going to pick them, so the fun vehicle out of them is the R5M, right? If you're a person who has grinded out, all of these tech trees much higher than rank 1, because obviously these being premiums, they're good at researching rank 1 and rank 2. If you're an individual who has already done that, then it's time to, basically just go for the fun factor, and the fun factor is the R5M because of the rockets in arcade. If you want the actual useful factor, the A13 Mark II is the way to go. The D371 is just too limited on the amount of ammunition that it can get, and especially when you have machines running around at those low levels, which you'll run into a lot. You run into a lot of I-15s and, stuff such as I-16s, and these have 3,000 worth of ammunition in their 4 guns. In the PV1s, or even in the M62s, it has 2,470 rounds on 4 Shikasses. These are just going to be able to outlast you, outturn you, and do anything they feel like to you in the D371. So if you want something that is competitive, or the best competitive machine out of the 3, I'd say the A13. If you want something which is fun, the R5M is the way to go. But just remember, you can only get one of these vehicles, and since they've all been available before, you may already have all of these vehicles, and at that point, I don't think you can actually get anything out of these gifts. I think you just don't get anything. It would have been nice if they decided to make these coupon vehicles, so therefore if people wanted to sell them on the marketplace, they could, but there is no indication of that in this news post here. The next part as well is they're bringing back some premium vehicles. And, if you participate in one battle with activity of 50% or higher, you get the War Thunder 7 years decal. So it's this one right here. It's a nice little decal, as you can see. I actually think it works pretty well. It's a hell of a lot better than the one which they've picked here, which I think, I understand the art style, I just don't really like it. I much prefer the grittiness of something like this. And also because it's a PNG, you can pretty much put it on anything you want and it's going to blend in. So that's nice. The next thing is they're going to be premium vehicles only available in the shop, which will now be available in-game from the 1st of November. So once again, from the 1st of November. So not today. If you don't see anything in-game, don't worry. What it means by premium vehicles only available in the shop and now available in-game, it means that you can purchase them for GE in their specific tech trees. So these will be the M47 Pattern 2 for the Germans, the MB5 for Britain, the Key 87, the G55S, the IS-2 1944 Revenge, the Char B1 Tur, the big batterer is coming, and the Black Cat, which is an M18 with a slightly different, well, basically an M18 without a muzzle brake. So the Pattern 2, its gun depression lets it down. It's a good vehicle which is fully spaded though. There's not really much point in taking it because of the fact, 7.3 isn't the strong BR for Germany, even with the M48A2 going down. It is much better to just run 7.7 and run now the Rakuten Jagdpanzer II, the Leopard 1, and something like the Kugelblitz, I suppose. And then and then with it, you run some other stuff such as the Pattern 2. So I would say that one's pretty weak. The MB5, we talked about it last week or a few days ago. The MB5 or the Martin Baker 5, it just takes too long to set up. It is not a plane which is very useful in air realistic, and in ground realistic it has no secondary armaments, so you're stuck with just the Hispanos. And it doesn't turn too well at low speeds, so therefore it's not very good in ground realistic. In air realistic it takes 5 minutes too long to get to altitude, and since, the current meta in the game, it feels like you kind of left out on a limb because you weren't able to help your allies and all your allies died, and you just kind of sat there, not doing anything. So the MB5 I don't really say, you should go for. The next one is the Key 87. Now the Key 87 is a very heavy Key 84. The Key 84, which we have in game, is an incredible fighter. All of these are amazing machines, and the Key 87 adds a little bit of weight to it, and it makes it more of a boom and zoom fighter instead of the Key 84, which is very much an energy fighter. But it's still very useful. It's still a really good fighter, but if we compare it to some of the other stuff which is on offer, such as the A6M5 Co, which you can use to research everything, when it comes to rank 5 and below for the Japanese, I would say this is a much better option than the Key 87. It's also available in a pack where you get the Pacific campaigns, very much worth it. G55S Centauro, this thing is coming back. I don't think I actually have it. This was a machine which came in as a Italian propeller plane, which was good at everything. 3 MG151s, ability to carry a torpedo, ability to be multi-role, ability to be a fighter. It took the world by storm when it was added in. A lot of people were crying out for it to be upbeard. A lot of people were saying it was only because experienced players were using it. No, it just turns out it was really good. The other thing as well is the whole Italian tech tree for fighters is really good. And this is why, even though the G55S is a great pickup, it really is a great pickup, I would advise against it because I want people to play all of these Italian vehicles. All of these are really fun. The Reggianis are really fun, starting from here. The C202 and onwards, the Falco even, if you want to go that far back with the CR42, they're all really fun. Basically, this whole line that you see here is incredibly fun. And then the G91s, which just got moved down in BR, they're great as well. The SM92 and 91 are wonderful, and the bombers are serviceable. It's the easiest grind in game, and it is one of the funnest as well. So instead of just buying a premium, just enjoy the grind. The IS-2 1944, Revenge of the Hero Brother. This is an IS-2 1944, which we actually have in the game, and I believe the difference between them, now don't quote me on this because I can't exactly remember the difference, but I believe the Hero Brother one does not have the Dishka, but it does have add-on armor, which is right here. So the IS-2, just talking about it in general, because obviously I don't have the Hero Brother one, the IS-2, in my opinion, has fallen out of favor. At 6.3, you now come up against a lot of heavy vehicles, whether they be King Tigers or whether they be American T-34s and T-29s, which you can't reliably pen through the front with this round, the 205 182-75 round. And instead what happens is they can just eat you alive because their rounds are incredibly strong, and you have only 100mm on the lower glacis and only 100mm on the turret. And you also have a 27-second reload on top of all of those wonderful things. So for me personally, the IS-2, even though it used to be a force to be reckoned with, the fact that it has no gun depression, has an incredibly long reload, and cannot rely on its armor, means that it is a rough vehicle to have, or a rough vehicle to use compared to everything else. The Char B1 Ter is insane. It's one of the best premium, or one of the best pre-purchase vehicles that Gaijin put in. You could buy it in order to get access to the French CBT when the ground forces came out. And if you don't know what the B1 Ter is, it is one of those vehicles that I refuse to play. Right? So there are a few vehicles in game that I refuse to play because I believe that they are very much off limits, meaning that it wouldn't be fun to play them because it would just be very easy to stomp people in them, and I just don't want to touch them because I believe it's unfair. The B1 Ter is one of these vehicles. So that's how high I see it as a regard. Another vehicle I put in this is the RU-251, and also some other vehicles as well, which maybe one day we'll get into, like the I-301 is another one of these vehicles. So the B1 Ter is just a B1 BIS, which has more armor on it, and I also believe it's at 2.3 BR. It's definitely at a higher BR than the BIS, but at the same time, if you know how tanky the BIS is, imagine that, but with more tank, and that's what you get. The B1 Ter was a machine that was used by many people in the Operation Shipyard event to be able to get the first places, because it's good at pretty much everything. The only problem it has is that it's the size of a bus. So overall, the B1 Ter is a definite pickup. And the Black Cat, the 76mm motor gun carriage, which is just the Hellcat that you see right here. Oh my god, here it is. The fact is, getting a premium Hellcat, which acts exactly the same as it, fires exactly the same ammo, and has all of the, bells and whistles as the normal one. The only thing it has different is, it's a muzzle brake, and also I believe it doesn't have the side skirts. It is a great pickup. It really is. So if you want my recommendations out of this list, I suppose the MB5, if you're really into the history. Bernard, what are you doing? Silly sausage. But the MB5, if you're interested in the history, is a really good pickup because it's got an amazing history behind it, but it's not a very good vehicle. K87 is so-so, G55S is amazing, Charby 1 amazing pickup, and the Black Cat is a great pickup too. The IS2, no. The K87, as I said, so-so. Patton 2 is also a no. On top of this, from the 1st of November to the 8th, there's going to be more 50% discounts on the GuardianNet store. But at least for now, there don't seem to be any discounts which are on top of the ones which we already have for the new update. The other thing as well is from the 1st to the 8th, there will be bundles for the PlayStation store and the Xbox store. Now, I'm going to make a list, or I'll make a spreadsheet of all of these discounts when they actually get released. So, we'll break down the prices, we'll work out how everything is, working, or how much bang for your buck you're getting when it comes to pricing. We'll make sure that you're informed on that stuff. And the last thing is that there's going to be a festive tournament, and this is going to be a 1v1 tournament in RB combined battles. And if you participate in the tournament battles from the 7th of November, wait, that can't be right. No, here we go. From the 1st of November, you'll be able to sign up for the 1 versus 1 tournament battles. And then you participate in the tournament battles a week later on the 7th of November, and you'll be able to win a coupon for the A33 Excelsior Premium Tank. So in these tournaments that are going to happen, you can also get some GE, but the main prize is going to be the Excelsior. Now, the Excelsior is a vehicle that was available in a festive event back in the day. It's a British vehicle, which is right here at rank 3. It's a chubby Cromwell. It's basically a Cromwell which is up armored, and it's also got a lot of speed behind it because it's got a lovely engine in it. But at the end of the day, it's just a chubby Cromwell. So it still lacks the reverse. It still has the flat turret on it. It still has the 5-man crew, with the 3 in the turret. So if you angle this, you can actually get some really nice armor out of it as well, which is something to look forward to. But at the same time, you're getting a coupon for it. So even if you don't want this vehicle, you can sell it on the marketplace. And right now, the Excelsior, the price for it is incredibly high. So yeah, it's definitely one to pick up through the tournament brackets. And since it's a coupon, it would be nice to see these also being a coupon. So therefore, we could sell them on the market to other people who want them. Those are the festivities that are happening for the anniversary of War Thunder in its 7th year. It's kind of crazy how long this game has lasted and how well it's doing as well. When you look at the amount of content that's being released to it, when you look at the popularity of the machine, when you look at interviews talking about how they're thinking about expanding to other platforms, it is a really optimistic time to be part of War Thunder, and a really optimistic time to think about the future of it in the coming years as well. I hope you all have a wonderful day, and I'll see you next time. I'd just like to thank Ambrosius McClellan, B. Young, Blackie, Daniel Stanton, John Ryman, Joseph Anders, Martinez, Mopar 1969, Moxie, Super Cacti, Uyans Terry, and Elove Goats, and of course Seductive Trash Can for supporting the channel.